Hi there, members of the U.S. Economy Group. I just wanted to help you out with the 5 fundamental questions. I think, this is important information because the U.S. ends up being the economy that we study for most of the year. So it's, useful for the AP curriculum, not just, for your presentation. So I'm going to help you out with how and in what way the U.S. or any market economy generally answers the 5 fundamental questions. This might be similar in, say, a country like Denmark, but because there are differences between Denmark and the United States, I'll try to structure this basically on the U.S., but this is like the basic, list of things that a market economy would do in terms of answering the 5 questions. And just to remind you, these 5 questions are, questions that every economic system has to answer, regardless of whether it's command-based or it's something that's market-based. But, it is specifically a market-based system that we're interested in your example. So a couple of things about the question. Sorry, I'm just going to kind of go to all right. These are the 5 questions. Sorry. What will be produced? Okay, and I think we might have talked about this in class. The idea of what will be produced in a market economy is decided by consumers, right? It's like literally dollar votes. You go to buy something. Everybody out, in the next week is going to be buying candy because it's, Halloween, and everybody that runs and goes to buy, candy, ultimately, we're deciding what should be produced, right? Halloween candy should be produced because that's really important. Maybe, other things that are being produced are also things based on what we're deciding, but we know things that, aren't being produced. Maybe no longer people are, making silly bands or typewriters, because those are goods that no longer have any consumer demand. So consumers are really important in deciding what will be produced. When we talk about how the goods will be produced, this becomes something that largely the producers decide. They are in charge of how are the goods actually going to be made? Usually businesses have one thing in mind. They're going to make the product, the best they can. So, not necessarily am I suggesting that businesses are out to make the cheapest product that they can, but they will look to make the product that they want to make at the cheapest cost. So, businesses that purchase resources in the resource market are very interested in minimizing the cost of those resources. So they have an interest in trying to make productivity very efficient, get, more bang for their buck, literally. And they also are interested in the price of resources, right? So that's something that's important. Technology is very much going to be part of business decisions here because technology enables greater efficiency. It helps with things like division of labor and specialization and whatnot. The other thing, of course, is that businesses are interested in prices of resources, including labor. So if labor prices right now are going up for businesses, that's something that they're interested in. They may ultimately make decisions about, if labor prices go too high, businesses might flip to automation if they can, or they might hire, fewer workers. Who will get the output? How do we determine this? In a market economy, consumers that are able and willing to pay will get the product, okay? Consumers, first of all, have to have demand for the product, okay? So they are interested in the product, but they also have to have the ability to pay for the product, okay? I might have demand for a Lexus, right? I might really want, that particular product. I don't, but say I do. I not only, in order to have that good, right, I not only need to want it, I need to be able to pay for it, okay? And that, of course, is connected to income, which is attached to ways in which we earn income, has to do with the resources that we as individual households, have, right? And the value and quantity of those resources, okay? So that's kind of the connection to the circular flow. How will the system change? There's a few things that affect the market system. Consumer tastes can change, technology can change, so innovations that enable greater productivity or perhaps changes in consumer goods. There's also changes in resource prices. Lots of things can affect the system and it can change, okay? So lots and varied answers here, more than even what's on the screen. how will the system progress? Okay, this is like really what this means is how does the system grow? How do we go from one kind of economy to a growth rate of 3%, 6%, 10% in a given year? How do we increase the GDP that, kind of is money that is spent basically in an economy in a given year, okay? If we look at technology and the concept of creative destruction, this is partly what's happening. So innovation kind of takes out old way of doing things, introduces new products, things that maybe were not possible years ago without the internet now are, kind of connected to the internet, and we might have a whole area of products and ways of doing business that have been introduced into our modern economy, and as a result, old ways of doing things were destroyed. That's kind of a part of this increase, right? Without innovation, we don't really have any economic increase. Things are static until they change. They change through some type of innovation. The other thing, of course, is capital accumulation. How do we end up getting to innovation? We invest in innovation. We invest in things at a company level, in research and development. A company like Merck doesn't just come up with a new drug, by accident. It invests in that. And as a society, we have like a degree of savings, and we also have a degree of societal investment. Sometimes this is something that the government might be involved in. For example, to have more green technology, we might have some, investment from the government. But the initial kind of capital accumulation, right? This usually comes from the private sector. This is the process that Smith said would definitely occur and would increase. So businesses essentially looking to get greater productivity and greater technological advance might purchase things like machinery and capital to do some of the things that they do. But this is, bigger than that. It's a way of kind of creating a lot of, just larger productivity and output and new types of products, okay? So capital accumulation is the way in which we get the larger quantity of products, and the technological advance speaks to the kinds of new products that we get. That's how we see the system progress. This is also the same place where Karl Marx said there will be some breakdown in this, because the more you accumulate, machinery and capital to increase productivity, the more you're going to have a situation where wages and replacement, for workers, will happen. And some of this process would lead to bigger and bigger and bigger firms, so there is an argument, that maybe in a modern context, a company like Amazon with its giant scale, is in a position where it is, kind of accumulating capital. But capital accumulation can also exist on like a societal level as we invest in companies that maybe are public companies, or we invest, we are putting dollars toward some of the machinery that firms actually invest in. We kind of make collective decisions as a society to move dollars toward firms that want to expand. And those dollars are kind of what we're talking about, right? There may also be government dollars. Something that like a country like China does is that government dollars are largely subsidizing capital accumulation. In our market economy in the US, this is coming in a lot of cases from households who are putting forth some of that capital, okay? Indirectly, but, it becomes an investment that society is making. I hope that helps. And there's maybe some more, research that I can give you, some pages in the econ textbook that speak to that. In fact, if you remind me, maybe somebody send me an email. There is a couple of sections in the econ textbook, like about the U.S. economy. And that would be a very good way for you to kind of take the nuts and bolts of the economy and teach it to your peers, okay? All righty, I'll see you in class.